what we're going to do today is I want to try to get you guys on a decent, steady bite. So we're going to do, between a 60 and 80 mile run one way. We're going to end the day. There's an old military communication tower about 60 miles out. It's called the P Tower.
Holds a ton of fish,
It holds a ton of fish, especially being at 60 miles. A lot of that stuff out there gets untouched.
Awesome.
So the beauty of it is you get a big structure, you get something that's unfished. Usually you can get into something pretty decent and have a great day with it.
Good. That'll be fun.
Yep, beautiful, dude.
Yeah! Nice.
Good job.
Cigarette.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Jesus.
Everybody's down south. Everybody's on Channel 1.
I guess just set them in like that?
Yeah, I guess. 2 weeks. Alabama. How long you stay out for?
Woo! Oh, look at that.
Thanks, man. Score.
All right, Channel 1. I'll see you tomorrow somewhere.
So when you landed in Japan,
Yeah.
was it what you thought it was going to be?
To be honest, I'm thinking of Japan as like what you see on TV, bright lights, tons of people.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. I got this huge picture in my head of like Tokyo kind of scene,
Yeah.
know? Well, I get there, it was dark. You're kind of going through the mountains here and there, and you get down to the base. Now the base was crazy. So the base was it was our home port. So our home port was Sasebo, Japan, and the home port was they built. Not only was there Navy fleets there, but there was also like the big freighters that you see out there.
Yep.
So these guys, this was a base that they built those freighters on. So it was just huge metal factories. I mean, they're melting metal down, they're pouring it into molds. Like, I mean, so it was real industrial, It was just steel buildings. So
Not really.
that's all I saw, and that's what I was seeing at night.
Yeah, right.
So, and then when I got out to sea, once we left for deployment, I was inside the ship, so I never like walked out just to see where we're leaving or you know. So we get out to sea, and then I walk out, and then it's just open ocean. So I really didn't get to see anything.
From the time
nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and that's like I said, man, I was thrown into the fire. I mean, it was, and I tell you what, being young and inexperienced and not knowing and being new, it was nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You know what I mean? It was like you jumped right onto the ship at 7 o'clock and they're like, we're getting on deployment. You don't even know where you're sleep. You know nothing. You know nothing. But it's time, So it was like,
Figure it out.
It was a lot of figuring out and a lot of learning really quick to adapt to something so different that you were used to into something completely different that you're not used to, So, and in that sense, that I'm sure for specific people that can mess around with you a little bit, So I just kept an open mind and just kind of let everything fall into place how it did, and that's how the journey begins, in the Navy. So
to live with that kind of pressure, not only when you're on duty, but think about it, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days.
I tell you what, man, I was on edge for 4 years, and the only release from that is these ports that we did pull into gave us that release. So, we hoped that they gave us liberty when we pulled in these ports. 6 on was never 6 on. 6 on was like 12, 13 on.
Really?
And then your 6 off was never 6 off. It was like maybe 2 off. So within that 2-hour period, I would have to have somewhat of a personal life which came to, their laundry, eating, anything like that. But it was tough to do, with the schedule. Because I would literally go from my main space in engineering and then jump right out of that and go right to full firefighter gear, Scott packs, and then have to do those same firefighting drills back in the main space where I work that's 130 degrees.
Wow.
So now imagine having that all the time. It never stops. The only time that would stop was your brakes when you pulled into the specific ports to have a little bit of a quality of life. Because some of these ports I pulled into, I never was able to get off the ship.
No.
I still had to stay on the ship, but you know what? There was other people that were able to get off the ship. But there was just so much put on us because we made the ship work. Everything. Yeah, quite the experience. I mean, it's
that's just crazy.
And it's crazy to say, but I'm glad I went through it to see that. It just, those little things like that shape you so much.
Mold you as a person, don't they?
It does.
Yeah.
So I don't wish that upon anybody, but
I'm sure being a boat captain, I mean, it's dangerous out here on the water. I mean, those same things, like, I don't know if you remember yesterday, I asked you, I said, I noticed you kind of going through a checklist in your mind before we headed out. You were pointing at that, looking at this, and that's your military.
And you know what that stems from? Military.
Yeah. So you were talking about how high stress of a job it is and that you guys got liberties. When you guys got liberties, what was that like?
All right, so getting liberty was, I tell you what, for the engineman to get liberty, you had to do your job right. If something was messed up and you did something wrong, or somebody in the engineering department did something, it affected the whole engineering department. Okay. And that's basically how it worked. So there was really no quality of life on the ship. Everything was work, work, work. It was your job. But our quality of life was off the ship. So, the beauty of the Navy and the military is you travel. You travel the world, and being in Japan, we were all South Pacific, so we were traveling to all these different islands, Philippines, Thailand, Guam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, all these places. So, and that was our quality of life. So you got to imagine you going through this crazy stressful situation, right? Every day, day in, day out, not having quality of life, well, you get a lot of pent up. Everything builds, okay? It's time to release something. So when we would be able to actually get off the ship and be able to go enjoy these ports in these different countries, I tell you what, it was wide open.
Yeah?
I mean,
Full
it
throttle,
was,
huh?
Yeah, because you didn't
know when the next time
months
was
on
gonna
end,
be.
you never had anything. So when we went out, it was, drinking heavy, partying, spending your money that you can't even spend because all you're doing is just working.
Right.
So you're out there just spending thousands of dollars just to, because you knew for those 2 or 3 days, if you didn't do that, and when you got back on the ship, you knew there was going to be no quality of life.
Right.
So you try to get it all out at once.
Wow.
Well, every port we pulled into, we got it all out. Okay. And some people got in a lot of trouble. Okay, because they let a little too loose.
Yep.
And I did. I was that person. You can't. I can't. I joined the military when I was. I signed in when I was 20. I didn't leave till I was 21. Got to Japan when I was 21. And so you got to understand, I'd already been living on my own, doing my own thing for years, paying my own bills, no help.
Yep.
So, for me to go to a structured environment where it's like, nope, 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 you can't do this. And then when you do say, okay, here you go, here's a little bit, you can go do this, I just lost it. You know what I mean? It was just staying out late. When you first get onto the ship, they have a system. They got a white card and a blue card. So that depends, that's your liberty, okay? So when you first get in on the ship, your first liberty is a white card. So you can get off the ship in your home port and go out in town and do what you need to do, but you've got to be back on that ship by 11 o'clock p.m. Now, a blue card, it's the same scenario, except you don't have to be back till the next day.
Oh, really? Okay.
Okay, you could stay overnight somewhere. You just got to make sure you're back for quarters and your job, obviously. So everything's got to be on time. But you have to prove yourself
to get that
blue card. You got to show that you can go out and be back before the time. Well, I was never back before the time. I was back at 2 in the morning. I was back at 3 in the morning. So then I would get in trouble and they would shut me down for 2 weeks. And then I'd get my white card back and I'd go back out and I'd do the same thing over and over to the point to where it caught up to me. And I got enough trouble throughout the first year, or the first, let's say, couple months, 2-3 months, that I did it enough to where they cut me off for a year. I was never in trouble ever again, all the way until I got out.
Cool.
But I pretty much imprisoned myself
Right.
for a full year off my actions.
Yeah.
And after that, I had the best quality of life. Now, not so much on the ship, everything was the same there, but I was able to get off to these ports and go
Enjoy
out
yourself.
and go to Thailand and be in Thailand for four days. You know, go to the Philippines and be able to stay out in town for 3 days. And go to Singapore and get a hotel and stay for 2 days.
Yeah.
You know, so I was able to actually finally see these countries and enjoy the finer things that the military gives you.
Yeah.
And took advantage of it. And I mean, I met a lot of great people in other countries.
Cool.
I mean, I've been to Thailand so many times. I got out. I moved to Thailand.
Did you really?
I lived there for 6 months.
Wow.
You know, so that none of that would have never happened
Had you
if
not
I
been
didn't
able
go,
to-
if I didn't make the move to do the
Yeah.
military or even go through those situations that I went through to get to that point.
Yep.
You know, so then I realized, damn, good thing you listen to yourself, because look what you got out of this.
Yeah.
I quit everything to do this fishing. Literally, overnight, I dropped everything. I had no income, no boat, no nothing. I had a captain's license and a hope. And luckily, I got plugged in with the right people. And I tell you what, for not forcing anything in your life and letting everything just kind of happen, no matter how old you are, it has worked out better than I can
could've
even
scripted it.
imagine. Okay,
Yep.
I mean, for doing something that I told somebody 10 years ago that I was going to be doing for a living, and now I'm doing it, and I've been busy for the 8 years that I've been a captain. In a nutshell, that's
That's where it's at.
it's
That's nice.
where it's at. Yep.
That's cool.
Yep.
Well, you're doing what you love, so they say you don't work a day in your life if you do what you love, right?
You don't work a day in your life. It's a very true statement.
Yep.
And I bet that's hard for a lot of people to think about and believe, but it's about as real as it gets.
We're both
So,
living it.
We're both living it.